You can always tell when a black dude loves anime.
Why do black people love anime so much?
There's nothing like being a black nerd, bro.
The anime community has some of the most hated people on the internet for a very good reason.
There's a whole argument on Twitter right now about whether this is the worst time or best time to be a black person and into nerd shit. As a black kid who grew up in the hood, I need y'all to shut up. I remember not long ago, before anime was mainstream, you get beat up or bullied or outcast for liking it. Let's be serious, nobody was beating you up for watching no fucking anime. This back and forth really speaks to a video I made a while ago about whether the black community accepting black people watching things like anime or not, which actually turned out to be one of my favorite videos I've ever made on this channel, but it got no views. Where were y'all at? There are two tweets I saw that really highlight the opposing views and experiences in this discussion.
Finding good friends as a black nerd is one of the most difficult things I have ever had the displeasure of trying to do. All of my friends are online or at the very minimum an hour away. Another reason that I'm always alone is because when you finally do find friends as a black nerd, your blackness or your nerdiness is always going to be a problem.
You can always tell when a black dude loves anime. They all have that unkept afro. I'm just, how and why? Why? It's okay to go get a haircut, Mr. Anime Man. Yo, Alfred, go get a fade. I promise you that Sasuke is still gonna be Sasuke, bro. I promise you.
Might be easier to be a black nerd now than it's ever been, honestly. And you can see that got a ton of replies. But in the same breath, you see a tweet like this. Being a black fan of nerd shit is hard, man. Which I ended up responding to and sharing this video because it's so relevant to the discussion that's happening right now.
Why do black people love anime so much?
I got you, bro. A lot of it starts with the fighting. Black Americans historically have been into fighting films, especially ones that contain karate, Muay Thai, all that good stuff. I think the same thing applies to anime. And not only that, being black in America comes with a lot of adversity. And when we watch these characters deal with similar inner struggles that we do, of course we're going to attach to them.
So we're going to give it a rewatch with new eyes. But I'm Jude, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it. If you were black and you watched anime growing up, you were bullied, beat up, and rejected by the black community, according to this tweet. And this tweet started a whole debate on X about if people were bullied or not, and when exactly being an anime fan became acceptable in the black community. As a lifelong anime fan who happens to be black, I think this conversation highlights how people from the same community with the same interests or passion can be perceived two totally different ways and have different experiences because of that. I don't doubt that some kids were teased for liking these Japanese cartoons that were created for much more mature audiences than what we're used to in the US, while other kids were accepted and even able to influence friends and family in their circle to get into anime. For me growing up, I've always been into art. I've been drawing or painting since I was old enough to hold a pencil or paintbrush, and I taught myself graphic design later on. As a kid, I was naturally a fan of all the superhero Saturday morning cartoons that dominated the early 90s. Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Spider-Man, and so on. But my introduction to anime was a complete accident. I was flipping through channels one night and I came across Akira, which was premiering on the Sci-Fi Channel.
A city on the edge of insanity, known only as Akira. Everyone ready? The apocalypse is about to begin.
When I tell you, my little elementary school brain exploded when I discovered anime. I'd never seen anything like it, and I can still remember sitting on the edge of my mom's bed, my eyes wide open, glued to her TV. It was the most incredible, detailed, fluid, vibrant, colorful animation I'd ever seen in my life. I was in complete awe. In hindsight, I was way too young to be watching Akira back then. But I still remember how excited and hyped I was when Kaneda was sliding in his all-red biker fit on his high-tech red motorcycle, just fire. I remember rooting for Tetsuo, who had been bullied the whole movie, and being in shock when he went on that insane rampage from the hospital to the streets to the stadium. But Akira was part of my childhood. It was my introduction to anime even before I knew what anime was, and I still love that movie to this day. For those of you who aren't aware, Kanye's whole music video for Stronger was actually based on Akira. From that moment, I was hooked on anime. I watched every single anime that aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. Some good, but a lot of them were 90s trash, and there was some absolute gems like Vampire Hunter D, Street Fighter, Fatal Fury the motion picture, Robot Carnival, and of course the classic Ghost in the Shell. All this yapping to say that I've been an anime fan for a long time. How I draw, shade, paint is all from being a lifetime fan of and influenced by anime. But all of my years watching anime was kind of like a solo thing. None of my close friends ever watched anime or were interested when I tried to put them onto it. But I remember the vibe around and action access to anime started to change in the late 90s when Cartoon Network created Toonami, which aired after school and introduced kids to anime like Dragon Ball Z, Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, Gundam, and the list goes on. I would say that's the time that anime started becoming mainstream. And I remember kids in class starting to talk about DBZ episodes or what was going on with the Namek Saga or whatever other anime they were watching. And throughout that time, I can't say I ever remember anyone getting beat up, bullied, or rejected from the Black community for liking anime. I'm not saying that some form of jokes or what people perceived as being bullied didn't happen. We all know that kids are mean and will pick on other kids for just about anything. I just don't remember anything violent happen for somebody liking anime. But this discussion took a hard left when ex-user Mikey responded, "As a Black kid who grew up in the hood, I need y'all to shut up. I remember not long ago, before anime was mainstream, you get beat up or bullied or outcast for liking it. Back when anime wasn't cool, it was violently rejected in our community, but now we're claiming it. How can you say an entire industry owes its success to us when just a few years ago, y'all didn't want anything to do with it? The people in your own race will reject you if you were caught being a fan. Y'all are frauds." Can't respond to everyone, but if you understand where I speak from, I appreciate you keeping it real. We got no business saying anime is carried by Black aesthetics or we have a massive influence in it. Just because 1 out of every 100 anime they make has hip-hop or jazz in it. Based on his tweets, he seems really insulted by her initial tweet and made it about this personal experience of not being accepted in the Black community by using language like, "You will be beat up, bullied, or outcasted by liking anime, and it was violently rejected by the Black community." Mikey is making it sound like your life was on the line if you liked anime growing up, especially by saying anime was violently rejected by the Black community. I don't think it was ever that serious or anyone cared that much to violently reject anime. But I can only speak from my own experience. Unfortunately, I can't say that type of bullying or teasing didn't happen to other people. At the end of the day, Black people aren't a monolith and everyone has their own experiences. And I could see if someone was to say that the majority of Black community didn't care or ignored anime, but violently rejected is a stretch. Also, Mikey saying that anime wasn't made mainstream until recently, I think is 100% inaccurate. Toonami made anime mainstream 20 plus years ago. Maybe it got more popular with shows like Naruto and Attack on Titan, but anime has been mainstream since DBZ days. And his tweet stirred up a lot of controversy about the Black community accepting anime and kids being bullied or not for liking anime. Watching anime and being weird anime running down the hallway are two different things. That has some truth to it. I vaguely remember kids jumping off lockers and doing kamehamehas in the hallway, but I don't think that's any different than kids randomly stone cold stunning kids in the hallway. The main difference is the popularity of WWF during the Attitude Era as opposed to anime, which was always more of a niche thing, and people not really understanding what anime kids were doing at the time. But that tweet got some responses as well. Thank you. Anybody saying they were bullied definitely smelled like pee growing up. That was part of the fun of being into manga and anime back then. Back then, you weren't just a casual watcher. It was harder to find ways to watch, so when you did, you immersed yourself more into it. Internet was still young. Not every show had a translation. Forums were key. You can be into something without being a whole weirdo. If you just bust out of nowhere guarding people in the guard stance like a basketball defender, there's no amount of NBA popularity that's going to protect you from being strange. What's wrong with y'all? Another person named Dean responded to Mikey's initial tweet, actually quoting himself as he already responded to this same conversation back in 2022. Here we go again. Niggas didn't get bullied for simply liking anime. Tell the whole story about how you tried to turn Super Saiyan in gym class in front of the hoes. A lot of people had thoughts about this tweet, agreeing or disagreeing based on their own experiences. No, it's not. You saying all of us did that shows why we were bullied. Facts, lame ass nigga living your truth. Yeah, they didn't get bullied for liking anime. They got bullied for being autistic. So they were bullied for liking anime then. Not gonna lie, even if they were being dicks to be dicks, that's how kids are. But beat up? Let's be serious. Nobody was beating you up for watching no fucking anime. I was lightly teased when I bring a manga to school because people thought it was, but I literally showed up in cosplay at times, but no one did or said a thing. Here y'all go again with this blatant lie. Yeah, but niggas definitely did get bullied for liking anime. I was never once bullied for liking anime because I did it from the privacy of my own home. A fucking lie. The culture back then was not receptive of it in general. It didn't matter if you behaved like that or not. I hate how y'all try to revise history because y'all like something now. This is where I think this type of conversation just becomes really nuanced because it's based on everybody's personal experience. Was the Black black community receptive to anime as a whole early on? I don't think so. I think anime was more so ignored or seen as a fringe thing to be into, but never violently rejected. I drew anime all over my notebooks in school. I remember kids asking what I was drawing, but I never got clowned for drawing something weird or talking about DBZ. That's just my personal experience though. And I think half the problem in disconnect is everybody projecting their personal experiences onto everybody else and just generalizing it. If a kid decided to go Super Saiyan in the middle of gym class when everybody else was playing basketball and they got clowned on it, then yeah, their personal experience would be them getting bullied for liking anime. But that's not everybody that liked anime. And to reiterate, bullying is whack. Dean then responded with another tweet which I think is accurate. Niggas were watching DBZ and Yu-Gi-Oh! Before we even knew what anime was. Which again, I think speaks to the normalization or acceptance of anime much earlier than what Mikey said. And that kind of goes to what I said earlier, that I was hooked on anime before I even knew what it was either. I just thought what I was watching was dope and I wanted to see more of it. And I think that goes for most kids. Low-key, not everybody got bullied for liking anime. I think some of them kids just wanted to bully y'all. Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably the case. If you got bullied or felt tried, I hope you stood up for yourself. I feel like that goes without saying. I just feel like I live in a different world when people act like if you mention anime in any capacity, you were shunned off top no matter what. I definitely agree with that. Again, not trying to knock down or deny anybody their personal experiences, but I just didn't see that growing up. And some of the responses under that tweet, this is literally it. People will find any way to clown you in school. Facts, like anything. Most of the time, it don't be about the actual shit really at all. It's because of them. They acting like Timmy over there wasn't getting clowned for having a pink notebook. Shit was so unserious. Everyone operating in extremes as adult is a problem with most things in life, honestly. I also agree with that last tweet. I think this is just everybody generalizing their personal experience that they had growing up. And there were some other tweets about this too. There's a line being blurred here. Kids in general experience bullying, but there's a select group of people who found the reasoning for that bullying to be anime. I do agree with that. Also, if you saying shit like, as a black kid that grew up in the hood, you did not. Nobody talks like that. I wasn't bullied because niggas would just have to fade it out. Not everybody fought back or stood up for themselves. So again, I'm not going to deny the people that were bullied for something. Again, everybody has their own personal experiences, and that's going to dictate how they feel they were dealt with for being an early adopter or fan of anime when it wasn't that popular. It does suck that anybody ever felt bullied or isolated because they liked anime though, because anime provides such an awesome experience, and that's why so many people are into it. I told you how mind-blowing Akira was to me, but I had that same feeling across several anime through the years, like when All Might turned up and fought against Nomu, or when Eren burst out of the basement in Titan form and started the attack on Marley, or just about any sword art from Demon Slayer. Responses to this whole conversation seemed about 50-50, where people were saying bullying was happening or not happening for being an anime fan, and also if the black community accepted anime or not. But I'm glad we're finally at a point where anime is just accepted and loved across the board, and there are black channels like CJ the Cham, Honcho, and Sensei that do great numbers talking about anime crash outs, reverse jumpings, and Black Air Force energy and everything else. Those are actually some of my favorite channels and content to watch while I'm editing. But now I really want to know your experience. When did you start watching anime? How did you get into it? And did you ever receive any backlash, or were you teased for watching anime growing up?
I don't know, I just think it's interesting that anything is considered nerd shit these days, and that people are still battling with the concept that something is too weird or too nerdy to get into. I think everybody should feel comfortable and free with doing them and being into whatever they're into, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. And if somebody doesn't like something that you're into or has something negative to say, ignore them, keep it pushing. Don't let other people deter you from what you want to do in life. But shout out to my channel members, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.